What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another edition of the Cubby Perspective. My name is Andrew, and I'm a podcast for the fans and by the fans. So, you guys have to let me know if you like the intro or not that I made, as you saw recently. I spent a lot of time working on this intro. I'm not tech savvy by any means, so uh, quite frankly, I think that was a huge win for me. I think I did a really good job on it, and I would appreciate some feedback if you guys, drop a like or drop a comment below and tell me how I did. Thank you. I also made an outro that you guys will see at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. Hope you guys are excited for that. I think it makes the podcast look more pro. It doesn't look like I'm such a newbie while doing this anymore. I feel like so regardless, I think we should get started here. The Cubs have been going through quite a lot lately, a lot of ups and downs. So we've seen the Cubs win 5 games in a row, have a devastating loss against San Diego, and win the next two following games, which would have put the Cubs at a pretty decent win streak. But because of that blown save, unfortunately, that win streak didn't go past five. As well as during the Texas Rangers series, one of our co-ace, Justin Steele, did go down with an elbow injury. So that's pretty devastating news. Fortunately, it doesn't sound as bad as it is. It is not Tommy John surgery, so everyone could, relax and calm down, have a sip of water. It's called elbow tendonitis, also known as tennis elbow. So basically, it's he has some sort of like strain inside of his elbow that could sideline him for a while, or maybe not that long, maybe only a few weeks, depending on how his rehab and how his how the trainers and upper management deal with Justin Steele. You could potentially see Justin Steele back on the field probably within 3 weeks. That's my guess if everything goes according to plan. All right. So instead of, trying to explain what elbow tendonitis is, I just went off of Google and I'm going to read off of what Dr. Google says about it. So elbow tendonitis, also known as tennis elbow, is an inflammation of the connective tissue that fastens the muscles in the forearm to the elbow. Treatment for ET includes bracing, medication, steroids, and PRP, also known as platelet rich plasma, and last but not least, surgery. So hopefully it doesn't get to the surgery part. That'd be pretty devastating. I'm not sure what platelet rich plasma is. If you guys want to go look that up yourself, by all means, go ahead. But hopefully that also doesn't come into fruition. So hopefully we could keep it in the bracing medications or steroids. All right, now let's talk about who is going to replace Justin Steele as that every fifth day starter. Who's going to take over for Justin Steele? And I compiled a list of names over here, and we're going to read through them and see which one seems more plausible. So starting off with Colin Ray, I think Colin Ray is off rip the favorite to hold down that spot until Justin Steele returns. Colin Ray does have a lot of experience with starting in the past, as well as he has had some success. He's a solid depth piece. He doesn't have to be an everyday starter, but he having a Colin Ray on your team that could fill in every now and then for an injured pitcher, that is extremely important, and that's what Colin Ray does best. Even though Colin Ray does provide a lot of value through the pen, in this situation, I could see why they would move Colin Ray to the starting rotation. They did call up Ethan Roberts. Uh, who knows where Ethan Roberts is going to pitch? Is he going to come out of the bullpen, or do the Cubs see him more of a starter pitcher? Quite frankly, due to Ethan Roberts' track record with the Cubs, um, I'm not even sure if I want him on the roster. I'll be honest with you. So we drafted Ethan Roberts in 2018 in the fourth round. So yeah, he has been in our system for quite some time. He hasn't had a whole lot of success. Excuse me. In 2022, he debuted. He only pitched, I believe, like 8 innings or so. His ERA was like incredibly high. His WHIP was insane. It was like 1.7 or something like that. So he was, giving up the homer, the long ball. He was walking people, a lot of hard contact. So they obviously dropped him back in the minor league system. He ended up having Tommy John almost immediately. So he missed, part of the 22 as well as all of 23 out with Tommy John. He comes back in 2024 with the Cubs, with the actual Chicago Cubs and the major league roster. His ERA is, goes way down. You're right. It's really not that bad. It's like a 3.71 at the time, which, you could get away with being in the major leagues with a 3.71 out of the pen. But I mean, it's still kind of high, but whatever. It's not like a 9 ERA like how it was. But the issue with that was his whip, his whip skyrocketed all the way to 2.6. So, his control got worse. And funny enough, his ERA lowered, but he was still walking a lot of guys and giving up a ton of hits and stuff like that. So it's kind of funny how that goes hand in hand. But yeah, I'm not sure where Ethan Roberts sits on this roster at the moment. I don't expect him to be with the major league roster, that long. So we'll just have to, wait this one out. All right, so we talked about Colin Ray and we talked about Ethan Roberts already. Let's move on to the third name. Third name on the list is Jordan Wicks. So we have seen Jordan Wicks be a starter the last few years or so. He hasn't really had that much success, if any at all, outside of his debut where he struck out like nine Pittsburgh batters in a row or something like that. It was crazy. Everyone thought he was like the second, and coming of whatever. But yeah, Jordan Wicks, he is in AAA right now. Yeah, he's not doing so good in AAA. He gave up like 4 runs the other day in like 4 innings. I'm not sure what's going on with him. He has a really high graded changeup, actually one of the better changeups graded in the minor leagues. And according to his scouting reports, they had it at, I believe, like a 70 overall out of 80. So that pitch could be deadly for him. But Jordan Wicks lacks that strikeout pitch, even with the changeup like that. He's just not striking out batters enough. He's walking people. His control has been shaky. So Jordan Wicks is definitely a work in progress, and he's an ongoing project that the Cubs definitely have to take on because the kid has all the talent in the world. I still believe he could become a very good pitcher in this league, but yeah, he will have to tweak some stuff in his pitching mechanics. The Cubs will have to work with him, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens with him. So no, I don't expect him to take over for Justin Steele either. Last two names on the list are going to be Javier Assad and Cade Horton. Javier Assad is currently dealing with an oblique injury and is currently in Arizona at the moment, having extended spring training or so, trying to get back to Wrigley. So Javier Assad will not be filling in for Justin Steele, but if he was healthy, believe me, Javier Assad, he would have been the guy filling in because Javier Assad has had a lot of success in recent memory, and coming out of the pitching staff. So, yeah, it's not going to be Javier Assad, obviously, because of his injury. And moving on, Cade Horton. Cade Horton is a hell of a prospect talent. I'm super, super excited to see Cade Horton in Chicago someday, but I don't think it's his time now. Um, Unfortunately for Cade Horton, last year he was injured all of last season, so he missed an entire year of development. So that's probably why he's not with the team yet. But with that being said, Cade Horton is an excellent talent and an excellent pitcher to have in the Cubs system. He's one of the highest regarded right-handing pitching prospects in the game. He has a crazy wipeout slider graded as 70 out of 80 on the scouting grades. That pitch will definitely strike out a ton of batters when he's up here, and he will have success with that pitch as long as he can control it. He also has a devastating fastball that's graded as 60 out of 80. So look for Caden Horn in the near future to be up in Chicago, and I don't think it's going to take that long considering his season debut in Iowa with the Cubs. Uh, he pitched, I believe, like 4 innings or so, or 3 innings actually. Struck out like 6, 7 batters. He whiffed. There was 14 whiffs on his pitches. So the kid has electric stuff. So hopefully that translates into Chicago someday. I'm really hoping that soon. All right, and last portion of the podcast for today is just going to be going over the schedule for the next month for the Chicago Cubs. It, it's looking pretty rough. Like, fortunately for the Cubs, we beat the Texas Rangers and the San Diego Padres in a series, right? And hopefully the Cubs can continue that because it does not get any easier after those two teams I just listed off. Unfortunately, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers coming up tomorrow. So I mean, yeah, that sucks. Obviously, you never want to verse the Dodgers because how stacked of a team they are. But Fortunately for the Cubs, Blake Snell is injured. You never want to see, injuries in the sport, but, for this case, it definitely helps the Cubs out that Blake Snell, we will miss Blake Snell. So, yeah, we have the Dodgers for 3 games. We have the Padres for 3 games. After the Padres, Arizona, back to LA for 2 games, then to Philly for 3 games. We have some quick work with Pittsburgh following Philadelphia, but ramps right back up to Milwaukee. Then San Francisco is doing really well this season, as well as the New York Mets. After the New York Mets, then you really see the schedule kind of start dying down a little bit. We have Miami, which should be a sweep, Chicago White Sox, which should be a sweep, as well as the Miami Marlins again, which should be a sweep. So realistically, you could see a 9-game winning streak right there. So if the Cubs play 500 ball against the good teams of April, and then go into Miami, White Sox, and Miami and win 9 games, the Cubs will be sitting very pretty on this season. After the second series against Miami, we have Cincinnati, which Cincinnati is kind of like a weird team. Like I feel as if they're good, but they're not good. Like they're still missing something. I don't really see Cincinnati as a threat outside of like a couple players. So we should do some quick work with them. Then to Colorado, and we should sweep Colorado. So the Cubs do have a lot of time to make up, right, for that tough schedule with an easier schedule later in May. So if the Cubs just skate by playing 500 ball against these good teams in April and early May, and by the latter half of May, the Cubs could be winning ball games like no other. So hopefully that happens. Hopefully the Cubs can continue this win streak. So yeah, but that wraps up my video. I really hope you guys enjoyed the intro. I'm excited to hear you guys' opinion about the outro and all that stuff. So as always, keep the faith, go Cubs, and I am the Cubby Perspective.